What's up guys, how you all doing? I'm Paul the Tech Giant, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a video that I'm absolutely dreading doing because it is my controversial worst things about my LG C10 OLED. So why exactly am I dreading doing this video? Well, simple reason is that when I've previously done a worst things about it OLED video, well, the insults have just been absolutely bonkers. You know, personal insults, swearing at me and everything like that. Loads of downvotes, more downvotes than any other video. All because I've given an honest opinion of the TV. And for some reason, people don't like it when you say anything negative. I think the reason is a lot of the people watching the videos already own these TVs and they take it like a personal insult, but please don't. I've also done a best things about the video. I'll put a link in the description and a link up above, and that should be watched in conjunction with this worst things about video, so you can make a decision when you're weighing up the pros and the cons, if it is worth going for or not. And personally, I would recommend this TV to anyone. It's one of the best TVs I've ever tested. And it's the TV that we use every single day, so it cannot be that bad after all. So please just be respectful in the comment section and understand that these videos are made to help you guys out. There should be no reason why you should be turning against me for trying to help you out. So let's start off then, and the first worst thing about the LG C10 OLED is the lack of UK catch-up services. Now, I fully understand that this is not going to affect everyone, but a large proportion of my audience are from the UK. Now, I often get asked what catch-up services are available, and sadly, at this moment in time, the only ones that we do have are the BBC iPlayer and the recently added ITV Hub. Now, this is not acceptable because we are losing out on Channel 4 and Channel 5, and you'd expect on a TV a fraction of the price to get all the catch-up services these days. So I expect there's going to be many people who buy a TV like this for a couple of £1,000, get it home, and are going to be massively disappointed when they find out that not all of those services are available. These are just very basic things that we come to expect on a TV in this day and age. So it's not the sort of thing that you're really going to be looking out for on such an expensive TV. And it's only when you get the TV home that you realise that you've had your pants pulled down. So that is the first worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about the LG C10 OLED is the short power cable. Now, if you follow my channel, you will know this is one thing that really does my head in about this TV, because even at a 65-inch screen size, you only get a measly 1.5 meter power cable. And you may say, well, it's not a big deal, swap it out. Well, do you know what? Most people would love to, if it weren't for the fact that LG have decided to fix that power cable in place. Yes, you can't simply just unplug it. Well, not without voiding the warranty anyway. So yeah, you are stuck with a 1.5 meter power cable, which if you want to wall mount it, that might not be ideal for you. For me, I have to run an extension lead up to the TV. So it would be nice if you could just either have a longer power cable or one that can easily be swapped out for a longer one, so you haven't got to run extension leads up to the TV itself. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about the LG C10 OLED is the brightness levels, or should I say the lack of them. Now, whilst I personally don't have an issue with the brightness levels in our living room with this TV, I fully appreciate that it may not be bright enough for everyone. So if you are going to be putting this TV maybe in a room that is drenched with a lot of sunlight, then it might not be the perfect TV, as there are brighter ones out there. So please just bear that in mind. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about this TV is the reflections. Now, whilst I personally don't have too much of an issue in our living room setup, well, maybe apart from when we have these lights on, you can see them reflecting up there. Yeah, generally it's not too bad. but I do get a lot of comments from the LG C10 owners and other LG owners saying that, you know, they do suffer with quite a lot of reflections because they've got a TV maybe facing directly towards a window. Now, if I just turn off the TV, you can just see that, like, how glossy that screen is, and yeah, it can look a bit like a mirror. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about the LG C10 OLED is the stand. Now, with this stand, there's potentially a couple of downsides with it. Now, whilst it looks very nice and it is designed so when the TV's sat on it, it can fire the sound from the speakers out into the room. As you can see, it is pretty long, so potentially it's going to be a bit awkward to accommodate. And secondly, when the TV is actually mounted on that stand, it sits very, very low. So if you are thinking about adding a sound bar, you're going to have to either raise that whole stand and TV up, or potentially put the sound bar on a shelf below. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about this TV is the automatic brightness limiter, or ABL. Now, what this does is when the TV displays maybe goes from a darker image to something really bright, what it will do is then step down that brightness, and you will actually notice that before your eyes, and it can be sort of a little off-putting as such. You know, you see sort of a bright image displayed, and then a split second later it instantly drops back down again, so you see that sort of step actually happen. And you know, a lot of people find this, you know, a bit jarring as such, you know, and pull you out from maybe watching a film or something like that. So just something to bear in mind, and that is why that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next up on the worst things about the LG C10 OLED is the wall bracket mounting placement. Now, most other TVs seem to have their wall mounting bracket holes in the centre of the TV, but because of the way the LG C10 is designed, as we can see, it's very thin, sort of for the top 2/3. And then down the bottom, you have this like thicker chunk, and that is where the wall mounting bracket holes are to. Which means if you know, you've got like a fixed wall mounting bracket and you've had a TV up there before, it's probably been arranged to, you know, your optimal height. What you will find is when you go to put your wall mounting brackets on one of these TVs, that will put the TV quite a bit further up the wall. And yeah, it is a bit of a pain in the ass. It's just the way the TV is designed, but it is something worth mentioning. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next worst thing about this TV is the no signal box. Now, I'm going to give you a demonstration of this right now. I'm going to turn off my external satellite box a minute. And once I do that, we should then get a no signal come up there, as we can see. And I know this drives so many people absolutely mad because we get this lovely artwork in the background come up. A lot of people want that box to disappear. You know, have an option that we can turn it off, that, you know, when the TV isn't receiving a signal, it will simply go to the like gallery artwork. Now, I know that there is a dedicated gallery mode, but it would be nice that, like I said, when there's no signal, we can just have that artwork and not this box. And I can guarantee there'll be so many people in the comments section who own these TVs will say, yeah, we want that removed. Please give us the option. I know it might seem a small thing, but you know, it adds so much more to the TV. If we just had that option that we could opt to do away with that no signal box and just enjoy that artwork. Next up on the worst things about the LG C10 OLED is the remote control. Now, whilst I included this in my best things about it video, and I love its functionality, I'm not overly keen on its form. It feels, you know, really cheap and nasty. Not the sort of remote that you'd expect with such an expensive TV. And the shape of it as well is a bit of a pain in the ass. You may not think it's a big deal, but every time you put it down on sort of like the arm of the sofa, because it's shaped like an egg, all it wants to do is constantly roll about all over the place. But there is good news. If you are looking to buy next year's models, then they have changed the design of the remote control. But you know, if you are looking at the C10, unfortunately you're stuck with this ugly thing. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. Next worst thing about the LG C10 OLED is the risk of burning. Now this has probably got to be the top worst thing I can think of about this TV, because it worries so many people. Now whether the risk is very minimal, the fact is it still makes people paranoid to own one of these OLED TVs. Now I just do want to point out that they have been massively improved over previous models, you know, sort of from 2017 or 7 series going back. A lot of more anti-burning prevention features have been added, larger red subpixel, that sort of thing, to minimise that risk of burning. But there is always that very small risk. And whilst I personally have never had any burning whatsoever, other people have. Again, not really with these newer models, but with other models. But it's got to be pointed out. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, you shouldn't really be mentioning it. But the fact is, it is still a risk. And I think that anyone potentially buying these TVs should be fully aware of that. As it, you know, it wouldn't be right for me to just, you know, not mention it at all. So that is the next worst thing about this TV. It is the potential risk of burning, even though it is probably very, very small. Well, there you go then, guys. Now, hopefully you've enjoyed that video today. And if you have, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please think about subscribing for more of the same in the future. And don't forget to hit that bell icon, because otherwise you ain't going to be notified of my latest uploads. So, thanks very much for joining me today, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.